audience owns a handmade product? I see it's quite a few of you. Good. And you know it quite quickly as well, because the handmade products, they have a special place in your life and memory. This is because it's special. Most of the products we have are made in a mass-produced way or through an automated system. These products are all made in a similar way, machines repeating the same action over and over again, resulting in all the same products. A handmade product is different. It's made by a human being. This is a clear example of a computer letter font, the handwriting letter font. And you see, it never looks the same as actual handwriting. The computer repeats the same thing over and over again. The R looks exactly the same way each time. And I tried doing that myself, as you see below, the computer handwriting, my own handwriting. It's slightly different every time. I tried to do it the same, although I have to admit I gave up by the fourth time of writing handwriting. It looks kind of sloppy, but there you go. And you see the little differences. As a fashion and textile designer, I think these differences of the human action are worth celebrating. I look for something unique each time. It's both in the way it's all made, I make everything from scratch, and the way it's all put together. So every aspect of the creation is what I have in my mind, and it's all made in the way I want it to be from scratch. You can see in the fabric, it's all woven by hand, thread by thread, every yarn laid down individually by hand. This allows to have, well, there's an organization and a system in it, but it cannot be completely organized. If it was done by a machine, that would be in order, a system in the way the thread would be laid down. Each color would be repeated in the same way each time, so a clear pattern would arise. And also the yarns would be more straight, more organized. This way the yarns have each their own character. Some are slightly in a wave, some are more straight. This combination of different types of yarns and different characteristics make the fabric look much more lively, intricate, and more interesting. So that's the difference you can clearly see is between a handmade and a machine-made product. Here's an example that you can see 5 sections of a handmade product that you can even see if it's made by a different person. So the 2 sections on the outside are made by a different person than the 3 sections on the inside. The threads on the outside sections are more separated, and the ones on the inside are more in bundles. So you can see even if the maker has, for example, a different mood. And I think that's really interesting and makes a product more interesting in the end result. This is another example of contrasting materials. So you have the hand-woven fabric against a rubber-coated fabric. So it's a contrast of shiny against woolly. And the coating is applied with a spatula. And you can see the way it's applied. You can see the little scratchings of the edge of the spatula, the process that's behind the making. So you can see it is actually made, and I think that makes it more special. It's about finding really the balance of a professional result and still having the little bits of process that you can see in your final product. The liveliness and richness of this end result is something you cannot replace by a machine or automated process. It is worth, I think, the extra hours that I put into it and other designers like me as well. And I think there will always be the people looking for this type of special products. Unique products with a character and a personality into it. These products will probably be for a smaller group, a niche market, special products for a small amount of people. And the mass will always be mass-produced as it is now. So that will be large orders, bulk productions, and that is because large productions are relatively cheaper than smaller ones. This often results in a production leftover. This can be, in this example, textile, but it can be anything really from every aspect and level in the production. So that's where the artisanal intelligence of the title comes into play. Now, I should probably explain the word artisanal, or artisan, as you may know it better. It is creating a product or work of art by hand through craftsmanship and development of skills and techniques over time. This, in combination with a talent and eye for materials and techniques, makes the product become to a higher artistic level. Often there is use of production leftovers or second-hand products or found objects. And there's often a process of deconstruction and reconstruction taking place. This is a very clear example on the slide. It's an artwork by Ji Young-ho, a South Korean artist based in New York, and he takes apart old tires and puts them back together with their different textures into these really amazing sculptures. In this example, a shark, but he does like all sorts of animals. So it's not like recycling a product into a general product, but it's taking a basic ingredient, if you may, and then making it into something more special, a unique or limited edition product. This is another clear example I recently came across. It's a small bag made out of the pulls of a Coca-Cola can, or several Coca-Cola cans, of course. It's all taken apart and meticulously sewn back together into this quite nice and actually very functional bag as well. Very famous fashion designer who also does a lot of artisanal work is Margiela. He has a special atelier really focusing on this way of working. So he takes used products and takes them apart and puts them back together into a different type of product. So he made here is 4 examples of different tops made out of different types of gloves. So there's normal leather gloves, baseball gloves, ladies' gloves, and then there's skiing gloves. So you can see there's endless possibilities, and you can really apply all your creativity and way of thinking of changing one product that's maybe not used anymore and taking it away from that original context and making it into something else. So think for a moment about your own wardrobe. You probably have several garments in your closet that you actually never wear, quite neglected. Think for a moment of what they may become. They may be a work of art or a patchwork. They may be some interior product, a pillow, or your jeans can be a nice poof, as you can see on the example. So apply your imagination to your own products, and you can see lots of possibilities in them. Now, I think the best artisanal products are the ones that are less obvious and that you don't immediately see what is the first product and what it has become. This is another example of Margiela, a raincoat that's made out of a windsurfing sail. It's not really that obvious on first sight that it's a windsurfing sail. It's a nice product by itself, and it can be used and worn, and it's only on the second look that you can see, oh, it's a windsurfing sail. Oh, it's upcycled. Wow, that's amazing. That's a way that you can take the handmade product actually a step further. The way I work is inspired by the classic Chanel tweed twin suits, which I came across when visiting their shop in Bond Street in London while I was still in college. I looked at their fabrics up close and I was really inspired by the richness of their fabric, because they use so many different types of yarn into their textile that makes their fabric look really rich and lively. So that's what got me the idea to create my own way of weaving and use yarns, leftovers of a knitting factory, and use them as my basic material to create my weaving method, and weaving everything by hand into the shape of the garment. So there's no offcuts, no leftover materials, and it's all heat fused seamlessly into the shape of the garment. So for this method, I use leftovers, and I don't really depend on what type of yarn I use each time. For example, if I want to make yellow fabric, I use not only yellow yarn, I use white yarn, I use gray yarn, I use green yarn, mustard, all different types of shades around yellow, and all together they become yellow. All I need is a variety of colors, a variety of thicknesses and textures, and all together they become the fabric. So if I run out of a type of yarn, it's okay, I'll find something else, or in the combination it will get the same effect. So what I'm suggesting is, if the artisanal or craftsman's people think about the products that we already have, the production leftovers, the second-hand materials, and think of the way of making the handmade product through using those products. We can make the most of both our production cycles. So you can have the mass production on the side of having the handmade products, and they can both work together and use the most of the materials that we already have. To me, that is the ultimate way of working with our materials and what we have in the world, and have less waste, and have more unique, special products, and have the ultimate artisanal intelligence. Thank you.